Happy Saturday, and I am back for episode number 8 in my short story series. I can't believe it's been 2 months. I mean, I know I say this all the time, and you're probably sick of hearing it, but I love Saturdays because these short stories really help. Obviously, I'm in the middle of a huge read, and I'm trying to read some other things on the TBR list, but at the same time, these short stories really give me something to look forward to, and they really break up the monotony. Give me a break. Let me put aside that, get a mental check out, and get into something quick and easy. Feels like you're checking something off, and it's been great. So I'm really excited. I am so much going to continue. Short stories are so fun. So today I have 2 short stories to tell you, and we're going to kick it off with the Western master himself, Louis L'Amour. This is volume 1 of his collected short stories, Frontier Stories, and I really enjoyed this story. The story is titled The Man from the Bitter Sands. It's 12 pages in length. As far as publication, obviously this collection was published, I think, in 2003. I don't feel like the story itself was written in 2003, but I couldn't find much on it. If you happen to know the publication of this story or know more history about it, definitely drop me a comment. I'm interested. I always like the historical aspects of these authors and their works. So, but this particular story, The Man from the Bitter Sands, is a true story of revenge and overcoming odds, and it's fantastic. In 12 pages, L'Amour packs a punch. He actually does a great job with ending the story, which is L'Amour is kind of abrupt in his endings. Sometimes they feel rushed, and this one felt right. I mean, short stories are abrupt. But let's jump right into this before I gush over the guy anymore. So the summary of the story really revolves around Tom Speak, and he's robbed and left for dead out in the desert in the heat. And he is aware of the 2 people that did it to him. They took his gold, they took all of his possessions, his horse, everything else, and they left him for dead. The only thing they leave behind is a gold mining pan and some plastic, and that becomes very vital to the first part of his revenge and his retaliation and his coming back from the dead. And it's a fantastic story. You get to see Tom make his way back into civilization, make his way back to his town, and he finds the guys that did this to him. And that's, you think, well, you just spoiled the whole story. Well, that's really not the story. The story begins from there, at least in my opinion, and it is done very, very well. The 2 antagonists are really not anything to speak of, but the story really focuses around Tom and his plight, the internal struggles, the theme, the conflict, how he goes about doing what he does. You get to slowly, see this tension build, and you also get to slowly see this character in Tom emerge, and you think, well, he's smarter than what I took him for so far. And it's a really well done story. It ends really well. For a short story, I thought it was really good. I gave it a 4.4 out of 5, and I think this was a great short story, and I was really enjoying it. So my next one, long awaited. I have never read anything by this author in this particular entry, but this is my dollar beat up stained cover of 9 Stories by J.D. Salinger. The story I'm talking about today is A Perfect Day for Banana Fish. And I have to say, when it comes to book covers and when it comes to titles of stories, you just never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you're catfished and you see this great cover and you think, oh, this is going to be an epic story. And the story is just kind of meh. And this one is like, okay, I really don't know what to expect here. But I definitely wanted to read more classics. Salinger is a classic. Obviously, I read Catcher in the Rye, great book. And I didn't really know what to expect here, and I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, this was a great one. So this story, A Perfect Day for Banana Fish, is around Seymour Glass. He is with his wife, Muriel, and they're on vacation in Florida. He has just recently come back from World War II. And the story begins with a phone call, and his story really focuses in at the beginning around Seymour's wife, Muriel, and her mom on the phone with her, trying to see if she's okay. her mother and her father are very concerned because some of the things and the behaviors of Seymour when they were visiting last just didn't sit right with them. And so her overbearing mother is, Mama Bear is trying to figure out if her cub is okay, and she's maybe overstepping her boundaries a little bit. And so I thought this was an interesting setup. And then the story kind of flips because then you get a character, a young girl named Sybil Carpenter, and you get to see her interaction with Seymour. And Seymour's on the beach, and it's just kind of an unfolding this scenario, and then their dialogue. I would love to put excerpts from short stories in here, but the dialogue between Sybil and Seymour is some of the most bizarre, almost kind of gut-wrenching dialogue. Like, you immediately know something's not right. And that's where the story kind of slowly ratchets up the tension. But the climax of the story, the ending, is so abrupt in such a good way that it really left me kind of stunned. This story was written in 1953. In terms of publication, I did some research. They believe maybe it was written in 48, and there was a lot of ambiguity around the title. I believe he was trying to publish it in the New Yorker, and some of the editorial people there were trying to get him to change the name, the title of it, because they liked the story. But in reading this in retrospect and how great it is, publishing this in the 1940s or 50s, I mean, would have been pretty monumental, and I would think pretty jarring for the masses back then, but it is done very well. There's no blood and gore, there's no swearing, there's nothing like that, but it's so bizarre and so kind of eerie that it's fantastic. It's 15 pages in length, it's a quick one, but man, it packs a punch. I gave this a 4.6 out of 5. It was a fantastic short story. And that's it. Those are my 2 short stories for this week. I really enjoyed them. I thought they were fantastic. I hope you continue to enjoy these videos, and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot.